What's up, peeps? We are back with another series of Road to the Stage yet again. Where does the time go? It is crazy how fast time flies. But we are here again. It's been a while since I did a YouTube video, so excuse the nerves, you know, a little bit rusty, but I should get better as time goes on. So before we actually dive into the prep itself, my first video is going to be a little backstory just about some of the things I've been through in life, you know, a lot of the things that I've had to overcome, and hopefully it will inspire and motivate people and show that anything is possible, anything can be done. That's my goal, just to kind of give a little insight. It's a video I wish I had done back in 2022 in the last prep series, seeing as that was such a success, winning both shows. And you know, it would have been great to have this backstory in that series, but it's better late than never. Now's the time, and we're gonna kick it off with just a little kind of brief description of what life was like growing up when I was a little bit younger. So Stevie was actually a very quiet, nervous, anxious person growing up. You know, it's kind of the main reason why I hated team sports, because afraid to let people down and then be talked about and just embarrassing, you know. So it never really went away. Even as I grew up, I was very I don't know, I found it very hard to talk to people I didn't know. I couldn't conversate, nothing would be in my brain. So it never really left me. I'm literally just going to go straight in the deep end, because there's no need to just drag the video out. So I'm going right in, here we go. And then I was 17, I was out in the pub. This is when I started drinking, and one of my friends was out with me, and so he said, Stephen, you know, if I take a pill, will you? You know, an ecstasy tablet. And that was the night then where it was kind of like the end then. It was the point of no return. It's where stuff kind of just started going wrong from that night on. Because the reason why, as I explained, I was a super nervous, anxious, quiet person. But what I very quickly learned was when I took this pill, it kind of eliminated all those fears and all those things that I thought were wrong with me, because it would give me this false sense of confidence. All of a sudden now I'm able to talk to everybody. I'm not afraid. My brain doesn't go blank when I'm speaking to people I don't know. And to me, I was like, holy shit, I don't feel as invisible now. So after that night, that's when it became a regular occurrence, and I felt in my head I needed it every time I went out, and I didn't even want to go out unless I did have something in my pocket, you know. And after that night, it obviously expanded into other things, that the party drugs. There's no need for me to say exactly what I'm talking about, because we can all kind of get a picture of what I'm on about. So yes, it ended up being a very regular thing, and then because it ended up getting a very expensive lifestyle, going out partying and doing that kind of things on the weekend, I ended up doing illegal things to kind of fund that habit. We can kind of all guess what that illegal thing is. Again, there's no need for me to go into detail about that. But yeah, that's kind of the road I went down. And I think that's when you kind of start changing as a person. You don't realize it at the time, you know, but you definitely turn into somebody that you're not. And your lack of emotions, your lack of empathy for people, you have no respect for yourself, and not really much for anyone, your family. You know, you're doing things to hurt them, because obviously they see what you're doing. They see how much you're hurting yourself, and you're upsetting them. They're worrying 24/7, but you don't care, because you're living your best life in your head. You know what I mean? And it's a sad, sad life. And it started getting me in trouble then by the authority. Then I was getting arrested on the weekends from doing stupid stuff, and just not having any respect for authority, and thinking I was the bee's knees. And things just progressively get worse. You know, you don't even see it. You don't even think it. Your whole life is crumbling around you, and you're too, I don't know, in your own world to even just understand. And what became a weekend thing ended up becoming, it didn't matter what day of the week it was then for me. it started becoming a weekday thing. And that's when like things just really get bad. And you start doing things on your own, where you're not even with people on a night out. You know now you have a problem. There's issues here. This isn't normal. Nothing about what you're doing is normal in the first place. But when you start to do things on your own, when you start to feel like you need things, these substances, that's when you know you need help. But at the same time, you're telling yourself, there's nothing wrong. I'm just living life. You know, I'm living my best life. I live life in the fast lane. This is all the stupid stuff you're telling yourself. So when I was 18 years of age, I had a house party in my house. And my parents were gone to Cork at the time, and I was left the house. And I invited loads of people back to the house, which they didn't know about. And this was the first time I put myself in hospital, where I had overdosed. And let me tell you this, that was probably the scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life, because I had no clue what was going on. I was like mentally disabled. Like, I knew something was wrong. Like, my heart rate was going just a bazillion miles an hour. I couldn't talk. I was like talking gibberish, and I couldn't stop shaking like this. And the lads in my house were freaking out, and they rang an ambulance. And when I got to the hospital, they were telling me that, like, I don't mean to scare you now, Stephen, but your heart rate is going 2.5 times faster than what it should be going. And I was just lying on the bed. I wasn't even moving. So my heart was like, and that was so scary. And I couldn't, like, my parents didn't know about it. I couldn't tell them about it. And when I come back from the hospital, I had to clean up the house. Imagine, just after coming out of hospital, I had to clean up the house of all the mess that was made, you know, the previous night. And then I had to go to work on the Monday morning after just being in hospital overdosing. Because again, I didn't want to miss work. Because I didn't want my parents to find out about anything. It's just crazy, because you would think from that happening, you would learn your lesson. But like the following week, I was straight back doing it again. But I was never right since. Ever since that overdose, every time I partied, because I continued to party, I felt like I was going to die every time then, because of that fear that I felt when I did overdose. So I was living in a life of fear. Every weekend I would party, or whenever I would do, during the week even, I would still have that fear that I'm going to die. So it just ended up being a vicious cycle of just nightmare, really. And it wasn't the only time I put myself in hospital. I was in hospital a few times. And one time, I remember the psychiatrist, I think it was, he did some sort of like test on me in the bed, where I had to like push his arms away with my hands, I think. He wanted to see how much energy I had in my body or something like that. And it was very, very little. I shouldn't have been that weak. And I was very like skinny and not eating much. And he did say that if I went to hospital one more time, that they were going to put me in the psychiatric ward, because they thought I was intentionally hurting myself. So that's when I started seeing a counsellor in the hospital, and was seeing that for many years, to try, you know, get better, because I really thought there was something wrong. Like, I didn't understand why I'm doing something that I know is hurting me, that I'm afraid of, but I keep doing it. I think I was just unable to deal with stress. I didn't know how to control my emotions. These are all things that I talk about now on my Instagram that I'm very good at doing. So that takes me on to the night I was in a serious car accident. I was 19 years of age. I had just moved out of my parents' house and moved in with 2 or 3 other lads. And one night on the way home from Waterford, I was probably rushing back, because that night I think we were having a house party in the house that I had moved into. And I don't know exactly what happened, but I ended up in a head-on collision with another car where people were seriously injured. I'm actually going to take you up to that crash site now, because it was only a few minutes away from my house. So I'm going to take you up there now, and we can talk about it up there. So where that Jeep has gone around, I'm pretty sure that's the bend. I don't remember much about the crash, to be honest, because I was going in and out of consciousness. So I barely remember even being in hospital. But from what I was told, your man in the back of my car, because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, he went flying out the window. And then the girl in the passenger seat ended up breaking her foot, and they said if the engine had come up any closer, it may have like chopped her legs off. And then the girl in the passenger seat of the other car broke 3 ribs. So I was very lucky that nobody died, blessed. For me, I ended up on crutches for a short while just because my lower back hurt from the impact, and I got stitches in my eye and chin, but that was about it. When this crash happened, I was already waiting for a court appearance for a different driving offence that led to me getting 4 years disqualified from driving. So when this happened in the meantime, I knew I was in trouble. My solicitor, he said I could be looking at a year in prison. So that's when I decided I need to get real help. But I'm going to talk about that in the car because I do not feel safe out on this road. We are back and we are in Steve-O's bedroom this time because the battery went dead in the camera. So we are back home now with a new one in it, ready to rock and finish this story. I won't keep you too much longer because honestly, there's been so much stuff that's happened in my life. I could just talk and talk and talk, and I won't keep you and bore the shite out of you. So I'll just get to it, right? So after the night of the crash, I practically lost everything. You know, all the people who I thought were friends in my life, gone. The ability to drive, so my freedom, independence, gone because I was disqualified for 4 years. I ended up in a lot of debt because of the road that I went down, as I explained earlier on, where I was kind of doing things to help fund my partying, the habits, the lifestyle. So I had to get loans out of the credit union in order for me to be able to pay these people back, because they're the kind of people that will hurt you if they don't get their money. And then my insurance, I had like €500,000 insurance claims against me. So I honestly didn't think I would ever be able to drive again. So I was trying to deal with that too, just the thoughts of not being able to drive ever again, you know. It would kill anyone, just the thoughts of that. So it was a rough time, and that's when I went into rehab around that time then. So I went to go get help, but I don't know if I was ready for the help at that time. So I was supposed to spend 6 weeks in a rehab center, and I left after 2 weeks, because these are the kind of things where you need to want it and you need to be ready for change, and I just don't know if I was ready at that time. So it took a little bit longer than that after that for me to like really focus on just getting better everywhere in my life. So the crash happened when I was 18, 19. I found the gym at 21 because I was on my own a lot. This was something that I could do on my own because, as I explained, I didn't like team sports or anything like that. So I could go to the gym, put my headphones in and just zone out. And I very quickly learned how absolutely fucking savage it is. Hence the pictures up there of me doing a front double. But I just fell in love with it instantly. I was like, this is the answer. This is what I needed in my life, you know? It gives you purpose, a reason to wake up every morning. You have goals, all these things that I never had for years. Like, I had to get up at a certain time. I had to go to bed at a certain time. I had to train at a certain time. I had to prep my food. I had to eat a certain way. You had to develop this discipline, you know, something that I would have never had. And I absolutely loved it. It was a feeling that I just couldn't get anywhere else, just that natural high. And rather than chasing like this stupid high from substances, I found a place that was a positive, where I could feel great about myself, get that natural high, and totally change my life with that. So yeah, I love training so much. That's when I was like, God, you know, I wonder, is there a way for me to be able to do what I love as a career? And that's when I started like looking into becoming a personal trainer. So I did all my courses and stuff like that. And like since day one of training, I've always just loved bodybuilding. From, I'd say, the week I started training in the gym, I Googled or I YouTube bodybuilding, and the first thing that came up was Jay Cutler. And I told myself, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym for a few weeks, look like Jay Cutler, and then just give up training, and you know, I'll have my body. Boy, was I wrong though. Oh God. 12, 13 years later, still not a scratch on Jay Cutler. I don't know what I was thinking back then, but how could I have known, you know? I was taught a newbie, sure. And then through training, this is how I met the Queen, Claire. And that's when my life really changed for the better. That's when I really grew up and became a man. I went from a boy to a man when I met Claire. And that was a good 7 years ago now already. Lucky 7. But she really did bring out the best, still does bring out the best in Steve-O. She did something that nobody else was able to do, and it's somebody that I really needed in my life. A good, strong, disciplined woman, you know, that's not afraid to say what she thinks or how she feels. So yeah, I grew up real fast. And she's been the biggest inspiration to me in everything I do, because I just want to be the best person for her, you know. And yeah, she definitely has stuck by me through thick and thin, and has got me exactly where I am today, believe it or not. I owe a lot to Claire. Yeah, we definitely bring out the best in each other. We're like two we're like two of the same people, male, female, same person. It is crazy because, right, she won't mind me saying this, right, but she's 12 years older than me, but you would never know that or guess that, because our personalities are just like identical. And we both have the exact same interests. She's a personal trainer now, I'm a personal trainer now. We both like weren't in those professions when we got together, but it's what we both wanted to do, and we both worked real hard to get there. And here we are now, two successful PTs. We both did bodybuilding shows, so I'm very lucky to have somebody that really understands and supports my goals, because they're so extreme, bodybuilding. So it's great when you have somebody that literally knows the ins and outs and knows everything about it. So it's a win right there all around, because I'm able to do what I need to do. I can focus on bodybuilding, no problemo. And we both worked in the same gym. We worked in 2 different gyms together, and you know, we definitely take on the world as a team. Teamwork makes the dream work, my peeps. So how did I get into competitive bodybuilding then? You see, obviously bodybuilding is something I've always loved. As I said earlier on about when I got into training and I turned on YouTube and seen Jay Cutler, and I was like, that's what I want to do, that's what I want to be like. So I've always had an obsession with it, but I just never really had the confidence that I would be good enough to get up there. And I remember telling Claire, I said, if I ever get talking to anybody that's big into bodybuilding, that understands and knows it, and they tell me that I have potential to do well, I'll wait until somebody says that to me, and if that ever happens, then I'll bite the bullet and do it. We were getting ready to do our very first photo shoot together, and I text Vinny Crane, because I wanted to kind of take it to the next level, just get absolutely shredded and really learn from somebody more experienced, you know, and see how far we can take this physique for the photo shoot. And at that photo shoot, he said that exact thing what I had told Claire, if anybody ever says it to me, I'll compete. Vinny says, you know, you have great potential, you could easily place top 3 at a bodybuilding show, and you need to do it. And I was like, holy shit, you know. And this is Vinny, someone who I obviously have a lot of respect for, and is a very good bodybuilder himself, and is a coach. So to me, it was just like, God, I went home smiling ear to ear. I was like, Claire, you know, you never guess what. And you know, that was it for me then. That's when I was like, okay, somebody believes in me. They said that I could do well. and let's give it a go. And that's when we start, like, you know, we stayed together then, me and Vinny. We did a bulk, and then the following like year we did the cut then for the shows. And that's what I'm going to get into now, actually, to finish up this video. Okay, so as you can see, I have my medals. PCA, first place. Nationals, first place. Put this one around my neck for the video. Ah, yes. And then we got my trophies. That's the PCA. And then we have, look at that. So I remember thinking, you know, for months of that prep leading into the shows, just visualizing myself on stage with those trophies and just thinking about the life that I had lived, just trying to see it, envision it every day, driving to the gym, doing cardio, getting emotional thinking about it on the treadmill and wiping the tears before anybody sees, you know, because I just remember thinking, you know, if I can do this, this will just be the icing on the cake after all that bullshit, depression, anxiety, all this stuff that I've been through. Just to be up there, the last man standing, hitting that front double bicep pose like you see up there with the first place gold medal around my neck. Because I remember thinking, like, this kind of stuff don't happen people like me, you know. Like when you go from one extreme to where you just don't care about your health, you're constantly partying, never eating, ended up in hospital many times, overdosing, you know, not even being able to drive, like all this crazy stuff just happening, yeah. And next minute you're up on stage, like muscles shredded and medals around your neck, doing the most extreme, hardest sport you could possibly think of, where it like requires 100% of your life, discipline, dedication, sacrifice, you know, all these things that I would have never had in my previous life. So it's absolutely crazy. It doesn't even seem like real life. And we are back in prep now, hopefully to go for 4 for 4 and get another 2 trophies and 2 first place gold medals. I used to ask myself this question, like, why didn't I die in the car crash? It has to be for a reason, because I believe everything happens for a reason, but I just was trying to figure it out. And like, I know the answer now, so I don't have to ask myself anymore. My answer is because now I'm a personal trainer. So obviously God seen something in me. He knew I had a lot more to offer people and this life, and he knew by giving me a second chance that I would like take advantage of it and actually do something with it. So he's given me the chance now to help other people through their struggles, make them happy and get them to where they want to be. Because of the stuff that I've been through, I can relate to everybody, and people feel confident in sharing things with me and me helping them through their battles and struggles in the gym, because I've been there. And he knew I had a lot more to achieve in life. He allowed me to chase my goals and dreams, which is right around my neck here, and I look forward to continuing on doing so, because I'm very grateful for this opportunity to actually live life now, and not just exist, but actually live it. Live each day as if it were your last. Because I used to just take life for granted, really playing with fire all the time. But you know, tomorrow is never promised, my peeps. So just get up, chase the dream, and don't give up, and just don't go down those stupid dark roads. Because I'm telling you, nothing good is ever gonna come out of going out and partying. You just stay away from it. And the reason that I made this video, it's a very hard one to make. I really didn't want to make it, but I also felt it's important to share it, just to show ye that anything is possible. You can totally turn your life around and come out on top, as long as you're willing to put the head down and just get to work. Because now, after living such a shitty previous life, I am now living my best life with my dream job. I have 2 cars, not 1 but 2, after being told that I would never drive again or get on the road again. And I have medals around my neck for bodybuilding, and I have my dream girlfriend. So I literally went from having nothing to now having everything, and now this whole world to explore and live. So I hope you like this video, and I hope that it inspires and motivates people. And yeah, I shall see you in the next one, my peeps. Peace out, Cub Scouts.
One day you're going to look back on all the things you're currently going through and you're going to be glad they happened.